here. So thank you for joining us. How's the zoo going these days? Busy, I'm sure.
Very busy. We have so much going on. We're right now in the process. We try to do most of our construction over the winter. So we have our big new rainforest project going on right now that's under construction. It's the largest project in the zoo's history. So
wow.
It's going to be a huge Amazonian rainforest with giant river otters and piranha and monkeys and toucans and all sorts of incredible animals. So
wow.
We're doing that, and then this summer also, late spring, we're actually bringing in the world's largest lizard, a Komodo dragon, for the first time into New England. So
cool.
A lot going on, a lot of construction. You know, we try, like I said, we try to do it in the winter when we're slower, but with this great weather we've been having, it's been a zoo at the zoo.
It's been
you know,
busy.
we were just slammed last week with everybody just coming out over school vacation week, and really it's so much going on there.
So let's go back to kind of what's new at the zoo. So you're bringing in this new exhibit. Let's go back to the rainforest exhibit. How's construction going, and when do we think it's going to be open?
So we are just wrapping up the advanced utilities part, because before any building goes up, you got to bring all the electric and gas and sewer lines and all that fun stuff that, the non-glamorous stuff that's underground, and we're just wrapping that up. The bids came back in for the main project, so it's going to be awarded hopefully next week. They'll hit the ground running, and we're really hoping to be open Memorial Day weekend of 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so right around the corner.
That's great. And then for this Komodo dragon?
The Komodo dragon, yeah. They are a lizard from the island of Komodo,
yeah.
and they adults can actually get almost 10 feet long. So a really
wow.
big lizard.
Wow.
We're getting a juvenile in who's only a 5-foot lizard, which is still pretty impressive.
That's pretty
so
big.
You'll be able to watch her grow, over time, and really exciting stuff.
So will she stay here, or is that temporary, or is that long term?
She will stay here. We are currently building an exhibit for her now,
okay.
And then she will be moving as part of phase 1 of our master plan. We're going to be building a brand new reptile house as well. So when she's bigger, she will move over into that area, and we'll put something else in her current exhibit.
So how do you acquire animals? What's the process of going through and working to get these animals as part of a new exhibit?
That's a great question, because so many people think, we go out in the wild and we collect them. Zoos haven't done that in ages. So, good zoos, we partner with one another. We're accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We're one of 230 organizations that are accredited out of over 2,000 zoos in the country. So we really are the cream of the crop. And those accredited zoos, they partner with one another, and they sort of have managed cooperative breeding programs. So, for example, the Komodo dragon, we put ourselves on the list saying we're going to be building a new exhibit. They made some breeding recommendations at other zoos, and they sent some offspring off to us. We participate similar type of programs with our snow leopards. We have a breeding recommendation, and those cubs, hopefully we'll have some this year, will actually be targeted for another zoo. So we really work cooperatively, and pretty much almost all the animals that you see in zoos, other than rescues, like for example our bald eagles, most of them were injured in the wild and needed a home. So other than the rescues, for the most part, most of the animals that we have in the zoo are all bred in other zoos. So it's a very cooperative effort, because we really don't want to take anything from the wild. If anything, we want to try to put it back in the wild.
Put it back in there. And let's talk about that. So you really do work on conservation. I think that maybe people don't really know about that.
You're right, and it's something we have to get out there, and that's why we're here today,
to
really tell everybody about that, because, people come to the zoo because they want to have a good time with their family and, just have a nice time out.
And you do have good family programs.
And we absolutely do. But what they don't necessarily say, and what we're trying to do a much better job is letting everybody know all the hard work that goes behind the scenes. I mean, we've been doing conservation for a long time. The Roger Williams Park Zoo is the 3rd oldest zoo in the country, and we have a very long history of conservation work. And our current director of conservation, he's been working with the American burying beetle for a quarter century. Right now we're working with New England cottontail, which is the cutest little bunny that is endangered.
Yeah.
And
which you would never think rabbits... Funny, like
right.
You'd never think endangered. But
right, because most of the rabbits we actually see here are eastern cottontails, and they've actually kind of pushed out the New England cottontail and driven them to the point of being endangered. So we work with them. We're working with timber rattlesnakes and reintroduction programs, Carner blue butterflies. So we really, across the gamut, and those are only the New England programs. We support programs around the world as well. We have a long history with tree kangaroos. Not only do we exhibit them, but we contribute financially to the Kangaroo Conservation Center. Elephants, not only do we have them at the zoo, and we try to make that connection with people so that they can see the elephant and really, bond with it and start caring. But, we put our money where our mouth is, and we support the 96 Elephants campaign because at least 96 elephants a day are being killed for their ivory. And we have to let people know that, not to support the ivory trade, and, to stop poaching. And, we support anti-poaching efforts financially out in Africa. So, everything that we do at the zoo, we try to also back it in the field with the animal, we have our ambassador animals, and they have their wild cousins, and we take the absolute best care of the animals in our care, but we also want to make sure that their wild cousins are also being taken care of, and are going to be there for the long term.
And I think that's probably where some of the disconnect is that people have trouble thinking. People have a conflict of going to the zoo. They're thinking, I'm having a hard time going to look at animals because they're in a cage or they're in an enclosure. So is your message, yes, they're here, we're taking good care of them, and we're supporting conservation, so come learn about them, and we do have resources that we're helping out with.
Absolutely. I mean, we take the best possible care of our animals. Yeah. I mean, the keepers have such a special bond with them, and it really is something that we have full-time veterinarians on staff. We have a full-time hospital with ultrasound and X-ray capability and a surgery suite. I mean, these animals get round-the-clock care, and the diets that we feed them, they're all restaurant quality food. I mean, Providence is such a great place for restaurants. Our animals,
the zoo is a good restaurant.
Zoo, our zoo commissary is top notch, and and people should really understand that the animals. Animals aren't always like they are in the movies, running around, and a lot of times, they're sleeping. It doesn't mean they're bored. It just means that that's what they happen to be doing right now. And so when you come out to the zoo, you should realize that the animals are super well cared for. That not only are they cared for, but all of our conservation programs, and we have some conservation programs we want to get people involved with as well, not only financially contributing, but we do some citizen science programs. So one that's coming up, we can go to our website, that we have training sessions in March, is a program called Frog Watch.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic, because I think that's another disconnect that people have is like, I want to get involved, I want to help, but I don't have a ton of money to give. Like, how can I help besides just giving money?
Right, and that's so important because we realize that we can't do it alone. We need everybody to do their part, and that's part of our messaging is that, this isn't just, it's the zoo's job to do conservation. It's everybody's job, and that's really one of the things that we're trying to get out there. So with this Frog Watch, we will train you, we have 3 different training sessions in March to identify different frog calls. And
that's so cool.
It is really cool, and you can do it with your family. We have little kids that come, we have older people do it as families. And you go through the training, and then you go out in your own neighborhood and you record the data into a centralized website, and what you're hearing, and that is actually real scientific data, and that is used by the zoos, used by other scientists to kind of track activity. So we can tell if spring peepers used to be here and we're not hearing them anymore, why is that? Have things shifted? Where we used to be hearing a variety of different calls, and now we're only hearing one species, or now we're not hearing any. So it's real good data that just everyday citizens are collecting that gets used in a very scientific manner. And the Roger Williams Park Zoo actually has the largest Frog Watch chapter in the country. There's these chapters all throughout the country, and we're very proud that in our little Rhode Island, we actually have the largest chapter. So it's something you can get out and do. And with each new exhibit, we mentioned the rainforest exhibit. With each new exhibit we build, we're really trying to give everybody a take-home message of, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what you can be doing. So we really want everybody to do their part.
Now, the peepers were out just last weekend when it was so warm. I mean, should we be nervous about that, or did they just go back? I mean, I don't know if you would know this, but we were I got a text from my mother-in-law saying, heard the peepers, and it's like, oh no, it's February.
Yeah.
But you would have been Frog Watch,
nature does find a way, and we would have recorded that data, and that can actually we can start seeing trends about global warming even potentially from that. That, frog calls, we're starting to hear them earlier and earlier. So, we never know necessarily where the data is going to take us. That's what the science is for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really is something that,
It's in February.
It's in February, exactly. Who would have thunk it?
So going back to this is getting people more involved. So we have that program, and really you have a lot of educational programs as well.
We do. Our education department is second to none, and it's really one of our cornerstones. And we have programs for all ages, for families, for toddlers, or preschool type programs, zoo camp programs, adult education programs. So there really is something for everyone, and we have such a great education department that really inspires the next generation. Because we're trying to preserve everything for them, and then we want to make sure that once we hand it off, that they will be the caretakers as well. And really, it's phenomenal to watch the changes in a kid who's gone through zoo camp, who all of a sudden, starts to become conscious of recycling or things along those lines. So, you can really see the kid's mind start thinking and those connections being made. And it's not just the formal programs, it's the informal experiences like our big backyard and the Beyond the Fence area, where we're just encouraging kids to explore. Because that's so important to get kids. I know it's all the digital age, and that's what we're on right now.
Exactly.
But we also want to get kids outside, and we want them to explore nature, because that's how they start to connect with things. And that's a big part of what the zoo is doing right now is just encouraging kids, get out there, get dirty, and just climb on these rocks and just see what's under them and see what's at the water's edge and just don't be afraid to explore and learn, because that's really what starts everything.
See what's out there and see the animals and the environment that you're in, because they might not always be here.
Right.
The rabbits might not always be here, and that's what you're working to help encourage and provide that education.
Right. And with the little kids, we don't ever preach the gloom and doom. We try to keep it all very, very positive. So everything is all age appropriate. With the adults, we certainly take a very different approach on how they can participate versus a child as well. So we are very sensitive to our messaging to make sure that everybody understands at the appropriate level what they can do.
That's true. I'm sure you don't want to scare 5-year-olds away.
No, absolutely not. The zoo's a great place. They should know it's a fun place. It's a great place. They can come have a great time at the zoo. And then we just try to sneak that education in as well.
To make sure, because I'm sure when you're dealing with animals, you're learning something, but you also don't know you're learning when you have these animals around. Let's talk a little bit about what else is new. You have a zip ride and a train that are new for 2017.
Yeah, so this is really phenomenal. So a couple of years ago, we took over Carousel Village because we wanted to expand our reach out and help support the park. But this year, we are bringing in a zip ride where you'll be brought 115 feet over Providence.
Wow!
And then zip right down, over the water, and it's really going to give you an incredible look of downtown and the bay. And we hear all too often that, I haven't been to the zoo since my kids were little. So we're hoping that, this will be another attraction that, some of the older kids or, high school or college age kids, just come out, have a good time, explore it, in a new way. And once again, once we get them there, then we try to sneak in that education when they're not looking. But what people have to remember is, we're not an amusement park, but all the proceeds that go from these areas, from a new train to a new zip line to the carousel, all that goes back to our mission. So you should feel good about the fact that when you take a spin on the carousel or you go zipping down from 115 feet up in the air, that the fees for those things help our conservation efforts, help our education efforts. So it's just something that's really important, because people shouldn't think that they're becoming an amusement park or not. We're really not. We're just trying to attract a variety of ages. Because everybody should be coming to the zoo, and
I want everybody to
and
see
then also,
elephants.
it really takes a lot of effort and support financially to do all the wonderful things that we're doing with supporting these conservation initiatives and taking care of our animals. Running a zoo is not a cheap effort. And
I was going to say too, how much does it cost to feed one elephant, or to take care of one snow leopard? Or
a lot. I mean, a snow leopard can eat several pounds of meat a day. So talking thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, one of our biggest line items in our budget is our animal feed. And like I said, we feed restaurant quality, food to all of our animals. So it is something, we have a full-time development department because people don't realize we're a not-for-profit. And we're always looking for partners within the community to come and help support our initiatives because, we are a community zoo and we really, want everybody to be involved with what we're doing because, like I said, we can't do it alone and being a not-for-profit, we really need everybody's assistance on this.
Something else that's new animals. So we talked about those 2 new exhibits that are coming in. What else do you have now?
So we got some American alligators coming in, some
Cool.
big ones that are going to be coming in this summer. So we're really excited about that. And then we brought in some other animals that people might not have heard of. We're going to be adding to our Alex and Ani farmyard some cutie pigs, which are absolutely adorable. And we'll also be adding in this year into our African Plains exhibit with our zebra and our wildebeest some Watusi cattle. And
that's just fun to say.
Exactly.
Watusi cattle.
And I know our development director, who I know is watching out there, is practicing doing her Watusi dance for their arrival. So hopefully we'll have a big event with that. But Watusi cattle are an African species of cattle, and a lot of people are familiar with the Texas longhorn.
True, yeah.
Watusi horns can actually be 8 feet from tip to tip and about this thick at the base. So we're getting some youngins in, but as they grow, you will see these massive horns on them, and I think visitors are going to be really, really impressed and probably have never seen anything like that.
So is that dangerous for when people are taking care of them? You're looking at, that's crazy.
Yeah, we have a very professional staff of animal keepers, and people don't realize
know how to deal with that.
Animal keepers, are really, they're trained professionals with degrees, and this is what they do for a living, and safety is our utmost important thing for our staff, for our visitors, for our animals. So but these particular animals, I mean, they're impressive, but they're still cows. So we don't expect any real issues, but we certainly take all precautions when it comes to dealing with animals.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I've always wondered about when I drive past the zoo and there's 10 feet of snow around. What do you do with the animals when it's cold and there's a blizzard? What do they do? I mean, elephants can't be used to a blizzard, right? I mean, or giraffes.
Right.
How does that work?
So a lot of our collection, we actually planted around Providence weather. So we have a large North American collection who's used to this type of climate, a large temperate Asia collection with our snow leopards and our red pandas that are once again used to it. So a lot of what we do is we try to find the right species that actually can deal with it. They can
deal with it. They're New England.
Exactly. But animals like our elephants and our giraffes happen to be very sensitive to cold. We have very large heated buildings, and our elephants actually, we're the first place to have a huge sand room where sand goes down several feet, and it's much better for their joints, and it's all heated with radiant heat, and they're very well taken care of. A lot of times they can tolerate small amounts of cold, so they'll still go out for a walk, and especially when we have nice warm weather like this, they're certainly out. But any animal that isn't cold tolerant, we have great winter accommodations for them. They're not, crammed into a little, holding stall somewhere. They really have, these large areas to be comfortable in throughout the winter. So it doesn't matter what season, we take good care of them.
You guys are ready and prepared. I always think about that. What are they doing at the zoo? How do you deal with this many animals and this many different species when you're dealing with a blizzard?
Right, a lot of people think we ship them out for the winter. No, they're all
they go to Florida with the rest of the snowbirds.
They're at the zoo, and our staff, whether it's our maintenance staff or our keeper staff, blizzards, I mean, we all know in New England they're shoveling out there and shoveling paths for their animals so that they can use their exhibits and whatnot. So the winter is certainly tough on all of our staff, but like I said, we got incredibly dedicated staff that make sure it all happens.
Fantastic. And maybe we'll see warm weather, so it'll be a little bit easier as we can move forward.
Spring is around the corner. We got a ton of spring events, so check out the website, and there's always something going on at the zoo.
Fantastic. Jeremy Goodman from the Zoo, Executive Director of the Roger Williams Park Zoo. Thank you so much for joining us. Such a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. And new exhibits coming soon, and new features for the Park Zoo as well.
Always something new at the zoo.
Always something new. It's a jingle there for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate
Thanks
joining
so much
us.
for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, so that's a little look inside the